Don't worry, I'll keep you secure.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I think you're going to say one of my brothers were trying to attack you. I was like,
No.
We spoke about those already.
Okay, no, look, the thing is very categorical. Look, yesterday we went to Gold Screen, they know about it, yeah? Okay, the video's not even out, yeah? Look, we went there to have a discussion, yeah? But the point is this, yeah? We need to understand, brothers and sisters, yeah? That is anti-Semitic. That nobody can come and say, because we know they're using the whole narrative of if you talk against Israel, it's anti-Semitism. I don't buy that. I don't think you guys will buy it as well, because it's as good as, and you might disagree with me, it's as good as ISIS coming and saying you're Islamophobe for talking against us. That's what I believe. So the first thing is this, yeah? Any thugs, I'm telling you, well, I don't care if you're a Muslim, I don't give a damn. If you think you're brave enough to come and two people who come to the park regularly where we have nice discussions, let me tell you, even if they're pro-Israeli, we will have an intellectual discussion. So I want to make that very categorically clear. Anyone that resorts to violence against anybody, you're a weak individual. Unless it's for self-defense.
Can I add to that as well? Can I add to that? This is very important, okay? This is extremely important. The way you need to deal with people in life, okay? The Quran says, وَلَمَنْ انْتَصَرَ مِنْ بَعْدِ ظُلْمِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ مَا عَلَيْهِمْ مِنْ سَبِيلٍ. Whoever tries to seek retribution for after they have been oppressed, there's no blame on them, okay? But what I want to say is, that means to say that if anyone, guys, please, if someone is coming to you with positive and energy, right? And they are not trying to do anything to you, by virtue of the fact that they're Jewish, now you will start to be aggressive towards them. Then what's the difference between what we are condemning and what you are becoming? This is my question. What is the difference between what we are condemning and what you are becoming? Because most of the time we become what we condemn. You know, and this is a psychoanalytic situation. You know, someone gets bullied, they become the bully. We can't afford to be like that. With Jewish people and Muslim people, we have had a beautiful history. I don't know what your views are on the history of Islam, of Judaism and Islam, but Sir Michael Gilbert and others, even Bernard Lewis, who is an Orientalist, has rated the Jewish experience in Muslim lands. The point being is this: the conflation that is being made between Zionism and Judaism is a dangerous conflation. And if the Muslim community make that conflation and as a result of it start to badger and to attack and to try and cause intolerance to the Jewish community, believe you me, you have not only betrayed yourselves, but you have betrayed the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you have betrayed Islam. Because wallahi, this is not the way he used to act at all. Even, and you know, and let me tell you something else.
You know that most of your brothers aren't like that. Most of the brothers, we come to the park, we talk and we converse normally.
No, but I want to say this, even if one of them, if I get news, or if Ali gets news, or if Hashim gets news, or Mansour, any of us get news, that there are Muslims in this park that are causing people like Aaron, Rabbi Aaron and Rabbi Yoel.
No Rabbi.
Okay, no problem. He's being humble. He's being humble.
With pleasure, bro.
No. I'm telling you this. These police, these useless officers here that come into the park at 40 miles an hour and run over children, almost. Honestly, he almost ran over a child. These fools, they are not going to be the ones who are going to have words with you, let's say. It's going to be us that have words with you. As the Muslim community, we will have words with you, and we will boycott you, and we will embarrass you.
And it's upon you
and we will,
to
honestly, because
it's upon them to defend it. If any of you guys are here and you see hostility, it's upon you to defend them. Yeah, okay, it's upon you, because I would feel the same. But if I'm in a Jewish community, like we went to Golders Green yesterday, okay, it got a little bit hostile. Some remarks were made. Okay, I would expect, and I'm sure if you guys were there, thank you. If you was there, you would have said, oh, hold on a second, yeah, even whatever it may be. So, brothers and sisters, very important. Since we got that out of the way,
are you satisfied?
Surely am. And whenever I see you, I'm satisfied.
And let me tell you something.
I could make a few innuendo jokes and stuff like that, but
I promise to you, I am not saying these words because the camera's here and to make it so. I swear to God, I am saying this because I genuinely believe it, and if I was here, I would be on your side. I'll make it very clear. On
that, sorry, just to add it.
No, you never interrupt me, okay?
The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Unsur akhaka zaliman aw mazluma." That aid your brother. Give victory to your brother, meaning the Muslim brother, whether they are the oppressive or the oppressed. And they said, how would you give victory to someone who's the oppressor? He said that by stopping the oppression. So listen, the Prophet ﷺ had very very cordial relationships with Jewish people. Wallahi, even after wars took place.
No, even when the Jewish man died.
Even after wars took place and whilst wars were taking place, he would have cordial relationships with them. Never, and I'm saying this now, confuse a harbi, a combatant, and advocate for the Zionist movement, some hostile person with a Jewish. If we see that you do that, and I'm saying this again, we will be the first ones to be against you. No young person here can ever look at a Jewish person and say, "This is let's go get." What do you mean? You wouldn't be doing that if you knew that he would, if they had something on them, if they were not outnumbered. Don't act cowardly. This is cowardice. Don't. Yeah. Yeah,
Where do you think all this hatred is coming from? Obviously, there's a source to it. Well, it's all around the world.
Yeah.
Where do you think this?
We'll come to this, brother. But I wanted to engage with the.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. We're going to ask you a question at the end. Remind us.
We'll have questions.
What we want to do is the interview. So the question on the matter of Israel and Palestine.
Yes.
Because look, even if you're pro, we want to have a discussion. So Hijab, because this is.
Let's start, Muhamed. Hijab.
I want to ask you just what is
discussion with your. We're going to make it fast because I'm going to run. But the simple thing is, as I spoke to the Sheikh before. I said the main point is we have to speak to each other and not about each other and not focus on the media and focus, as I said, to YouTube, all our followers, because then you'll have the full comments and everyone badging their own side or on Twitter, you just talk about yourself. As long as we speak to each other, we talk to each other, and you hear the other side, then we agree far more than we disagree.
And we can do this here. They will They will not be doing it over there right now, okay, for obvious reasons. This is our, do you know what we're looking at here could be something which changes societal momentum across the world, because we have to bring back a state of normality and peace. Honestly, I'm not just saying that as lip service. I mean this because based on how this conversation goes, honestly, it can make a difference between life and death. Some Zionist or some terrorist or whatever maybe might get angered and aroused and then start doing something which in the name of Judaism or Zionism or Islam, whatever it is, that will take us 10 years back. So what I'm saying is, I just want to ask you now, what is your view on the issues? Just generally, open question. I'm not gonna.
An open question is simple: condemn violence, condemn death, and it should hurt me and you for every innocent person, or even a combatant, because they only combatant because they see no future. They don't understand the other side. They don't understand each other. And if they would only talk and find a way to work each other's problems out and understand each other's aspirations, then, as we have spoken many times in the past, we'd understand each other and see how much we would really agree. And I'll take it a step further. I think that the fact that there is this belief in the world that Jews and Muslims can't get along is an imperialistic thing from colonialist power like Britain, who brought it to us to believe that dividing and conquering people is the way forward.
Do you agree then that, as the UN says, and Human Rights Watch and all of these organizations, that the actions of the Israeli government have not only been disproportionate, but they have been catastrophic for the people of Gaza, and they have been unwarranted in the sense that the damage that has been done has been something which really can't be undone, and unfortunately has caused more problems in the Middle East in that area? To what extent would you agree with this?
There's a lot of questions in this one.
There's a lot of questions to put together.
Right.
The simple concept is, if we're going to talk about what's happening now without going into the reason cause behind it, then it is, yes, to look at the current form. If you're going to look simply at numbers or you're going to look at the reason, then yes, it is something that is bad. No one wants a house blown up, no one wants even a dog hurt in the side, not in Gaza, not in Jerusalem, not in Al-Quds, no way. Definitely, everyone would agree with that statement.
So,
but if you're going to go back and we're going to take it a step backwards and we're going to just go, first take facts and let's work with that and work our way forward.
Fine.
And then work on our aspirations to understand the two aspirations of two people.
Right. So,
and I believe that these two people could live together, maybe in two states or even a one state.
Okay, let's talk about facts, right? Because the facts are that 25 days before Hamas even launched a rocket, 25 days before that happened, Al-Aqsa compound was stormed. And Vice News has done a very good piece on this. You can watch it, it's a 20-minute piece. And in that, they show that actually Al-Aqsa was stormed. There was bullets being fired, tear gas being shot, people were being dispersing. You see women bleeding, okay? And of course you have Sheikh Jarrah as well. And Sheikh Jarrah is, and this is very important for people to understand, according to the UN, this whole East Jerusalem area is not under Israeli, it's not part of Israel for all intents and purposes. Now my point is this, is Why is it that you talk about reasons? For me, the reasons are very clear. It's provocation. Just like, you know, there's the Wailing Wall and other sacred sites and stuff like that for Jews, there also is Masjid al-Aqsa and so on in East Jerusalem.
Agreed.
So would you not agree here that the continued
perpetuation
of problems in that area with the settlements,
Holy month as well.
in the Holy Month, but not only that, it's the settlements issue. This is the issue, the settlements issue. You know, I'm not you, of course, but Israel, so-called Israel, because I don't agree with what they consider themselves as, to be honest with you. They consider themselves as something that we, as the international community, completely, they have their own definition of what the country is, which no one else agrees with, quite frankly. That Israel have been doing, in terms of settlements in the area, not just in Sheikh Jarrah, but in all of the areas which they are not entitled to put settlements in, okay, in the West Bank. All of that area, that is the heart of the problem. If that did not exist, okay, then there could have been a discussion about potentially two-state solution or something. But yeah,
it always depends at which point we roll back and circle back to. Yes.
Yes.
You could circle back to point A, and then you can circle back to point B, point C, and depends how far you circle back to what you're going to see on the full picture, on the full image.
Right. So what do you think
have
we
to
should
remember
circle back
something as follows.
Right, go on.
The Zionists in Israel,
yes,
they don't see themselves as oppressors. I'm talking from their perspective. If you're going to meet a Zionist, they're not going to see themselves as oppressors.
Do you consider yourself a Zionist?
I don't see myself as a Zionist in that way. No.
Do you?
It depends again what the definition of Zionism is.
Right,
As somebody else before, this brother, what do I believe in? You say free Palestine. What does the word free Palestine mean? Is it an anti-Semitic verse or term or not? So explain to him it depends as well what the term means to entitle, which part of it. So it always depends how far you're going to circle back.
Okay.
That means is the fact is with the United Nations, with Britain, with the Balfour Declaration, with all of it, they've put two people against each other. That's the simple fact. Then there you have the NGOs, the non-profit organizations that come to serve a cause, and in the end the cause comes to serve themselves. And the one who gain the most are the politicians, the NGOs, the media. They're the one who gain the most. Who loses the most? Are the simple brothers and sisters on both sides.
Okay.
Children and women, and never mind even children, simple adults are the ones who suffer.
But you know, can I just, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
You know what it is? Yesterday when we went to Golders Green, yeah, and we hired a van, and we were just showing images of what's happening, yeah. And to me, look, it's be it Israeli kids or not, but we came across a very disturbing comment, which was like one of the people there said that they brought it on themselves.
Yeah, one guy said that today, I think.
But you're seeing something
where he
totally
is.
different. And we went there. We didn't go there to be hostile. Police came in like, bruv, it's like they were there, bruv. They just vanished and appeared in 2 seconds. And they came, and the thing is...
But Ali, brother, you know that it's a charge time, yes? So
yeah.
People who don't know you and don't know Muhamed Hijab,
Yeah.
and he looks quite intimidating,
Yeah.
even if we know that he's a cuddly bear. But then people always go on the offensive. That's the nature
but
of...
we didn't do anything offensive.
No, I know, you don't have to do anything offensive. The charge, the automatic charge that you have in society today is the fact it's been after the car that drove past, the car rally that drove past and shouted what they shouted at that. I always say it's far easier even without all these...
But you come and show those pictures in this particular location, it also sends
No, we went. We did a public one, and then we did a public
I
interview,
agree.
and we did one with the Jewish community.
And that's why I would condemn anyone on any side
But they
who
didn't.
just says
You know,
I know, and that's what I'm saying. I condemn anyone on any side who makes trivial or could laugh or say anything about children, women, anyone at all. And that I would agree 100%.
Your tone, look, this is what I'm saying. We went there because I want to
But I'll
distinguish...
tell you why I have this tone, because we have met each other and we know that we come in peace.
But we want to get back to the point,
yes, but
because otherwise we're going to discuss
even if I'm going to give it back here, even if I didn't meet you, when it comes to the killing of children, someone walked past the van and said, "Is that Afghanistan?"
I want to go back
said,
to
no,
this
that's a terrorist
Balfour
state,
stuff.
Because if you're going to walk up and say, "Is that Afghanistan?"
You know that he wasn't being cynical. He was probably pointing out the fact that a lot of times there are pictures in circulation. There are pictures from many years ago or from different locations that are being circulated on social media or even by prominent people.
But he's insulting us by saying this is Afghanistan.
Which are just
he knows this is Israel.
He doesn't know because there's a lot of times, you know, right, and we all know there are a lot of times that pictures are circulated that are
from different events, or
different events, different locations, and are there to intentionally create misinformation.
Okay, but if you had a van where if Israeli kids will be killed,
let's not dwell on this, bro, because
it's important. This is for our interview. This is our whole purpose for that interview. This is the actually the crux of the matter.
The simple fact is, Ali, put it this way.
I'm going to give it to
I
you.
believe if you meet all those people, I can't say all of them, but most of them, and they would not have all these cameras, meet them in a cafe, I promise you, Ali, you would agree with them on 95% on anything on every topic.
Let's go back to the look.
And if you would have asked me before, should I go to the screen and do it? I would tell you, Ali, it's probably a bad idea.
Aaron, sorry,
I
listen.
need to go. You guys carry on.
Yeah,
we'll be in touch.
No problem.
We'll see you again.
Take it, carry on. I need.
Okay, Aaron. Aaron. Look, let's not beat around the bush. There is clearly an anti-Arab sentiment in Israel, as there may be a very clear anti-Semitic sentiment in the Arab world, right?
Depends on which end.
No.
If you want to talk about the 1.7 million Arabs that live in Arab Israelis, live there, enjoy all their freedoms.
Yeah, they don't enjoy all of it. Look, let's be honest, please.
Okay, let's put it this way, Muhamed. Let's take simple facts and let's take a scope. And let's go back.
Yeah.
And the simple fact is this: take the Israeli way of where they view it. Now, if you ask a simple Israeli, do you agree with the two-state solution? Probably, most of them would say yes, maybe it will happen, maybe it won't happen, subject to the terms, but would agree in some form. Now, to take the reverse, I want to go to the next question. If you'd ask an Israeli, do you think the Palestinians would want and accept an Israeli state? Their belief, I don't think it's true, their belief would be no, they don't. And they would back it up with simple arguments as follows. They would say that from the creation of the State of Israel, for example, in 1948, from the creation of the State of Israel, when the West Bank was under Jordanian control, and when Gaza was under Egyptian control, the Palestinians never claimed being oppressed under the rule of those two countries. Let me just get it to a point.
These are assertions, though, and they're not substantiated.
I'm just saying I'm just giving you the concept where they come from. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just giving you the background from the way they see it. The next thing they see is that when the Palestinians start shouting, they see something said from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. So the way they view it, and they back it up with the charter, for example, from Hamas, that the Palestinians do not want a Jewish state in any shape or form. Now, so when they ask me, is free Palestine a Palestinian cause, an anti-Semitic cause? When you asked me before, one of your brothers, I told him it depends what it means. If it means a Palestinian state, then sure, there should be a Palestinian state. Or
guys,
I want to say free Palestine.
Guys, we're having a discussion. Otherwise,
say free Palestine.
You can say.
Continue.
All right, cool.
Okay, and then if you're going to ask me if it means not an Israeli state, then yes, I'll take it.
Okay, you've spoken for a long time.
Yes.
Okay, and I have given you the chance to do that. Okay, listen. You've spoken about the Balfour Declaration, then you've alluded to the 48 war and the 67 borders, all right? You've alluded to those things. Let me be very straightforward here. Let's talk about the facts. First and foremost, when the Balfour Declaration took place, it was one country promising to a second country the land of a third country. Now, under any worldview, I'm sure in Judaism or in Islam or liberalism. No, let me finish, because I've let you speak for 5 minutes. Look, the fact is, Chaim Weizmann and other members of the Zionist movement. Chaim Weizmann and other members of the Zionist movement. We're saying in English, right? Okay, listen, please. I've let you speak. So just try and listen to me for a bit. Yeah, Chaim Weizmann and other members of the Zionist movement in this country, when they sent letters, all right, to British authorities, and then there was the Balfour Declaration 1917. It was just that, one country promising a second people the land of a third people. And what's important at this point is to realize that the British did not have a mandate in Palestine at this time. The mandate in Palestine started 2 years afterwards, okay? So this was the Ottoman Empire. So it's now Britain talking about how they're going to manage parts of the Ottoman Empire. This isn't, by all intents and purposes, not even colonial. This is hyper-colonialism. You're talking about a country you don't even have under your colonial control. And you're promising that country, which you don't even have in your colonial control, to another people, you see? I don't see how in any way, shape or form anyone can justify, well, this is somewhat legitimizes the state of Israel. If you look at a book, for example, The Struggle for Palestine, written by a Jew, Hurwitz. It's a classic book on this topic. You'll see in the 30s what happened, okay? In the 30s what happened is that there was a immigration of the Jewish population into what is called Israel today. And obviously it was a Palestine area. This was from people in Russia, Jews in Russia. 40,000 people went into Palestine. Okay, now imagine this mass population of a country which can't actually cope with that, which sparked something called in 1936 the Arab Revolt. 1939 you had the White Paper, okay, and then you had terrorist activity. We talk about Hamas, but let's not forget that you had terrorist activity by the Irgun and by the Haganah and by Levi, and that terrorist activity was rewarded by the British Empire, which in 1946 culminated, of course, in the King David hotel bombing, which was the targeting of civilians. 1948, after the resolution, in 1947 by the UN, 1948, May the 13th, I think it was, Israel became what it is today. Now, I don't know why it would be against morality or against liberalism or against your worldview or my worldview to say, actually, the way in which your state came into being, was established, was completely immoral in every single way, shape or form. The only thing you guys really have to say about that is that, well, we were there in 70 AD.
No, you weren't. They weren't there.
Okay, just calm down for a second, please, bro, please. Okay, you were there 70 AD, there was a siege of Jerusalem, very well known. Hebron, the king, and so on. Now we talk about ancient history. Here, the Normans were here. You know, when we talk about Hastings, let's talk about the fact that the Romans were here. Okay, there was the Gallic, what's it called? The Gallic Wars or whatever, before Christ. So some Italian guy comes and says, we're Roman, we have rights to Britain. This is the ridiculous nature of the claim. No one makes these, you have to understand, guys, no one makes these claims except for Zionists. Understand that. No one legitimizes, okay, the status of a state based on the fact that there's archaeological evidence from 1,400, 6,000 years ago, whatever it was, 3,000 years ago, 2,000, whatever it was. Yeah? No one does that. Now, you guys are doing that. That's very well and good. But the point is, you have to understand, this is, for all intents and purposes, it's a catastrophic, yes, oppressive way in which a state has been established. I've made this example before, and I'll say it again. If ISIS, and I'm going to make an even more inflammatory comment today, I'm going to make a very inflammatory and controversial, wallahi, I want you to react to it. The way that ISIS conquered land, which is monstrous and condemnable and diabolical and megalomaniacal and unacceptable.
I like the adjectives.
Yes, no, just so that there's no equivocation. I'm saying what I'm saying, right? The way that they established land in the times that they did was more noble, even though it was ridiculous, than the way you did it. Do you know why? Not you, but the way the Zionists did it. Do you know why? Because at least they fought for it themselves. The Zionists relied on the fighting of the British Empire. With all due respect, you needed American backing, the UN backing. You needed I think that, sorry, Israel is a bastard state. And what I mean by that, it doesn't have a father. In fact, it's a product of one night stand of the UN and the British Empire. Israel does not have...
In fact, if I may, Muhammad.
No, please, let me finish. Please, bro, please. So let me finish. It is a bastard state, okay? I'm being very straightforward. I don't want to give you two faces and lie to you. Why on earth should we should appease this? Oh, you should have the 1967 borders. Who said after the Second World War that you're allowed to conquer territories? Who said that? You guys are part of the UN, yes? Israel is part of the UN. Who on earth said you're now allowed to conquer territories? So your fact that the 1967 borders are what is being referred to implies that the New World Order, including America, is willing to acquiesce to states and territories being conquered, which is the same as what ISIS have done, sorry to say. But like I say, it's less noble, it's more ignoble. You know why? Because ISIS, with all their monstrous and diabolical actions, they fought themselves. Whereas you, well, not you, but the Israelis, they needed the UN and the US cowards. I'm sorry, the way that they established themselves is completely cowardly. I'm not going to beat around the bush and pretend to be civil here. We don't need to pretend, oh, two-state solution. Do you think, for me to say, I actually believe that the way in which Israel established itself in the first place is completely oppressive and illegitimate. You think that makes me an anti-Semite? Wallahi, if that makes me an anti-Semite, I'm happy to be labelled as such. Exactly, good point. But if this is your definition of anti-Semitism, if the definition of anti-Semitism has become that I can't even condemn the way a conquering state becomes a country, then I'm ready to be called an anti-Semite. But the truth is, I am a Semite myself.
Brother, how are you going to be
Brother, please, against
the people ain't
I know. I'm a Semite myself, right? And even, by the way, I've done the ancestry test, and I had some Jewish in me, to my surprise.
Shalom.
And by the way, when I went to Golders Green and I told them that, they started having a different attitude to me altogether. I was talking to them about these things, bro, you know. And then afterwards, I said, you know, I'd done an ancestry test, and I had some Jewish in me. They were like, oh. I saw the smiles on their faces. And honestly, this is the thing. No, before you go, I know I spoke for a long time. I'm going to let you speak back. But please, bro, I'm just saying this. This pathetic use of the word anti-Semitism as a deflection mechanism of the covert narcissistic state, which uses as a scapegoat these labels and these terms. Oh, it's anti-Semitic if you talk about Israel. It's anti-Semitic if you talk about the history of Israel. If you don't agree with the two-state solution the way we like it. The 1967 borders. Who told you that? If that's what anti-Semitism is, then everyone is an anti-Semite and we don't mind being labelled as such. But that's not what anti-Semitism is. But what anti-Semitism is when you discriminate against someone, hatred of Jews because of their Jewishness. That's what, if you look at the dictionary, that's what it says. No one is saying that Jews shouldn't have a homeland. We're just saying, don't make your homeland on the expense of someone else's homeland. What we're saying with Yaqub, this Jacob, this pathetic, that fat slob, you know, in Sheikh Jarrah, saying if I don't steal it, someone else is going to steal it. I put the middle finger up to him and to his state. I put the middle finger up to him and to his state and say, you know what, if you're talking about stealing like that, you know, to be honest with you, we don't give a damn about if being labelled as anti-Semitic. We don't give a damn about, we have to understand, Aaron, wallahi, the only way you will understand how we feel, if you go back down memory lane, you realize everything was oppressive. Everything was oppressive. From 1917 onwards, every single thing. You have no right to speak about anything. Honestly, everything was bad. The Nakba, everything was bad. From Balfour Declaration, all those things are not points for you, they're against you. You talk about Hamas, that they want to see the extermination of Jews, or that they want to see all Muslims in the area. Who said that we agree with Hamas on every point, or the charter of Hamas has become the Quran? Who said that? I tell you something, under the Ottoman Empire, Jewish people, and you know this, you will agree with this.
Yeah, we have spoken about it.
Yeah, they were actually fleeing from the Christian West after the Inquisition in 1492. They were fleeing, running away to the Muslims, where they had their golden era. We say this, we say we believe in coexistence. But we believe in coexistence not at our expense, never at our expense. Coexistence doesn't mean you come into my house and say that if I don't steal it, someone else is going to steal it. We put the middle finger up to people that say that, or in the way that you do it. Sorry, this is very rude. The way you do it in your country, we do this as well. Yeah, we do that to them. You know that? Yeah, we do this one. We do that one and that one. Wallahi, we don't agree with any of this bull BS. We don't accept it. We cannot accept it. And this discourse is a sham. It's a sham. It is a sham. It's not a level playing field like two sides. There's a clear oppressor and oppressed. As Norman Finkelstein says, there's a raper and a rapist. If the rapist, after getting what he wants, he's starting to rape, the raped one gets up and spits at, he said this, I spoke to him, he said, this is online. He said, if he spits at the raper and says, you know, he deserves to be spat at. Don't tell him, oh, why did you spit at him? We need to go back and circle back in history. Come on, let's be honest. The truth of the matter is this. This has been the only time for a very long time, since, I don't know, 200 AD or something, where the Jews have actually had a chance, and the Zionists, let's say, to show us how it would look like if you had a state where they were in control. And unfortunately, they're not doing a good job of it at all. What they're showing us is that it's the worst time in history, okay, probably with the exception of the Crusades in the last 2,000 years, that there's been such oppression. Bombing children, let's not pretend, oh, but you know.
Muhamed, can I answer before
yes,
I run?
Of course.
Number one, I can't outdo you. I think you should run for Prime Minister in this place.
I'm going to run for Prime Minister.
I'll vote for you.
I'm going to run for Prime Minister in Israel. I'm going to be there.
I might vote for you
We
there as well.
know it's all political.
Now, listen to me. I'm going to do it fast, and I'm not going to go into detail. I'm just going to answer a few of your points that you made. You mentioned that the British, by the Balfour Declaration, weren't on the British mandate in Palestine. It was still the Ottoman Empire.
Yes, that's correct.
That's the point I always say. The British, the colonialists, freed the state of Israel before they even controlled the area.
Yes.
Already was interested in splitting two people apart.
Yes.
That's number one. So the colonialists who had this vision of breaking two people's a bond that we've had for thousands of years were the colonialist British. That's fact number one. Fact number two is, when we talk about the colonial Brits, occupied the area of Palestine at those times, which people kicked the colonialists out were the terrorist Jewish organizations. That's the fact. As you mentioned before, Haganah, Etzel and Lehi, these three organizations kicked the colonialist British out of the area that is called Palestine.
What you mean to say is that they committed terrorist attacks
against a colonialist power.
No. They killed civilians. All right. So let's be honest. 1940.
I'm not justifying it.
Good.
In no way at all. I'm just stating the fact of who kicked the colonialists out of that area.
No, let's be honest. Okay, let me challenge you. Before, please don't run. Please, we've had enough of people running away from conversation.
I never run away from you.
I know.
Do I run
but
away
you
from
keep saying using the word run.
No, because he has to go to.
I'm not using the word run. Oh, let me tell you this very carefully. Look. Let me tell you something. I know. Listen carefully.
I have your number.
No, I know, but let's just finish the conversation. Listen, bro. Okay, listen. Begin. Okay, who was part of the Menachem. Thank you. Okay, Menachem Begin, who was part of the Irgun. Okay, yes. He became the president of the country.
The prime minister.
Sorry, the prime minister from years 1977 to 1981. Correct?
I don't know exactly.
Yes.
You know better than me.
Okay, look, he became the prime minister of the country.
Not my country. Don't forget.
All right. He became the prime minister of the. Listen, I want people to really think about this for a second. Okay, he became the prime minister of the country. Okay, from 1977 to 1981. And he was one of the perpetrators of the bombing on civilians in a hotel. Now I want to put it this, King David Hotel, 1946, right? Now I want to put it to you this way. You have someone who's a terrorist from the Muslim community. He leads a group of terrorists and he goes to a hotel, let's say the Hilton Hotel, blows himself up, shoots some people that are going up to the hotels. Maybe they're getting a robe, they go downstairs to get the buffet. You know what I'm trying to say? You want to get a breakfast. And then you know what? You get some guy, terrorist, shoot you in the head. Okay?
I would condemn all.
Of course you condemn.
I condemn all.
Good, but he became... No.
But I'm just telling you the point of... I try to bring a different point completely. Not about the terror attacks where we condemn it, and as we have said before, evil is evil no matter who perpetrates it.
No, what I'm saying is
I'm trying to bring the different point is who kicked the colonialists out.
No, but you calling this kicking them out. This is not kicking them out. This is the British Empire and the UN rewarding a terrorist organization for their terrorism. That's what it is. That's what is happening. Yes.
Or I'll take it to the next step.
Yeah.
There are many people who say that the Muslim cause, the way to fight for Palestine is...
Are you comparing someone...
No, I'm trying to bring a point. Is to do the same thing that Haganah, Etzel and Lehi did against the British, to do it against the Israelis the same, and then they will just do what the British did. They made a calculated what's called equation. The price of colonialism is this, and it's not worth it anymore. So if so many people in the Palestinian community say, you know what, we'll use the forces and idea, the same means as Haganah, Etzel and Lehi worked, and with that we will kick the Israelis out. The only problem, what I would say is, that could work against a colonialist power like the British, who their native land is where we are all standing beautifully here. The problem is, when it talks about in the state of Israel, they aren't colonialists, they are in their native land. Now we can negotiate what the word native means and how far back we go, but I'm talking from their understanding. I'm talking from their understanding.
Well, from the British understanding, let's be fair.
I'm talking from the Zionistic understanding.
The British and the Zionists are the same. No, sorry, they're the same because...
I'll tell you why it's a difference, and agree with me at this much.
Okay.
The British could go back to Britain. The Zionists, when what they call home is Zion, is what every Jew has prayed for the last 2,000 years, is to go to that land. So they aren't colonists, they are indigenous. The word Judah, Jew, means you come from Judah. Judah is in way the state of Israel now that is in the West Bank.
I understand what you're saying, but let me
And
just
that's
let
the
me
point
put
we
it to
have
you.
to remember.
Let me put it to you a different way. Everyone justifies their colonism in a different way. Sorry, America, they have a concept called manifest destiny, and by the way, almost every president has believed in manifest destiny and westward expansion. Go and research it if you don't believe me. The point of the matter is this: the British Empire did have their own set of justifications for going into lands and colonizing them. And this, I'm saying, just because you have a different set of justifications, it does not mean that it's not what it is, and it's colonialism. The point is this.
And let's put it this way: on this point, Muhammad,
let me
we are going to agree 100% to disagree.
Okay,
I'll
fine.
tell you why we're going to do that.
Fine.
Because we are conflating now something called Zionism and Judaism as well. And
How?
Judaism, I can't agree that you should ever be able to touch for a simple reason. Because Yeshivas seeing the hope for Zion, not just I pray for it every day, I pray for it in a peaceful way, in an utopia where we'll be able to live together and the temple will be built where it was built before. Al-Aqsa and Haram al-Sharif temple will be built there, but it will be a place of prayer.
So you have to destroy the Aqsa?
No destroying. A place of prayer.
Where would the Aqsa go?
It will work in a way that I'm not God. I've never done anything. I haven't created the world. I just about know when I get up in the morning what time I'm going to go to bed. I've got no idea how it's going to happen. Maybe if we talk we might come to some idea, but there's going to be a place for all mankind. Muslim brothers and Jewish brothers and Christian brothers, Hindus and Sikhs, all will be able to pray. All will be able to pray in that place. Now we could agree and disagree.
We don't want to pray in the temple. We don't want to pray in the temple.
No, but I said I'm putting it from I'll tell you why from a Jewish perspective. I'll put a full stop at that point, because for me that is when you are crossing into my religion. Where I'll tell you why.
Let me cross into. Let me cross more. Let me cross more.
But I got the right to say.
No.
Sorry.
Let me cross more. Let me cross more into your religion. The problem is always has been religion. Actually, to be honest.
Disagree.
Let me tell you why.
I disagree because
let me tell you how. There's a lot of similarities between us, but one of them is not our conception of race. There's not one verse in the Old Testament that even condemns racism. In fact, let me tell you something. With all due respect, the Old Testament, the Hebrew Bible, is, for all intents and purposes, I would argue, you can derive from it an inference of racism. When you're talking about God repenting,
I'll stop you
now
there
please
again.
let me finish. Let me finish.
Sorry,
When you talk about God repenting to Israel, when you talk about the distinction between Gentiles and Jews, we cannot pretend to avoid this theological set of justifications. You do believe that you are in a hierarchy with other races, and you do believe that you're at the top of the hierarchy. This is a difference between us.
Can I answer now? You've spoken from my community, and I'm going to defend it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tell you, all right, Muhammad Hijab, sorry to tell you, you are wrong.
Okay.
But the simple fact is as follows.
Go ahead.
That means is, Judaism is not a race, it's not a religion. I've mentioned it to you in the past. There are many contexts what makes the Jewish people as a Jewish community. Point number two is, so it's not just a race, because you could convert into Judaism. Even if I've spoken to many Muslim brothers who never heard of it, but you convert into Judaism, I wouldn't advise it to anyone, but it's a fact, so it can't be a race in that way.
Why would you advise it though?
And I'll tell you now why I won't advise it.
Yeah.
Number one, because it's tough, and number two is that's where we theologically differ. Because Muslims believe, I'll tell you why, stop a second, that the only way to serve God, the only way to go into paradise, whatever it is to accept Islam, and that's the way forward, because God, in your perspective, as you would call it, Allah, came for all the people of the world to accept it through the Quran, and that's the way into paradise. Now, the Jewish perspective I want to stop. Let me just finish my sentence.
Of course.
That means is, from the Jewish perspective, it's not that the Jewish are in a hierarchy and the rest of the world is here. It is we all serve God, just in a different way. That means is you don't have to become Jewish like you have to become a Muslim.
Let me ask you a question.
But
You're more knowledgeable than me in Hebrew. No, before you leave, no, you can't just do this. Every time you say, listen, go. Calm down. This is transformative stuff, please. This is whatever you got to do. This is more important. Okay. Let me tell you. No, please. Let's not dictate things to each other. Look. Here's the point: is this, guys? Listen. Aaron, do you believe that there is a theological difference in you and me because of the fact that you're Jewish? And what is that theological difference, if there is one? Because of the ethnicity?
I believe there's no theological difference in the way what we believe in God I believe the only difference between people is that I believe that all people can serve God in their own way.
Okay.
And I don't believe, like Muslims, that you have to convert to Judaism to serve God.
Yes.
Now, and the end result is, do Muslims and Jews reach paradise? The answer, simple question, is yes. It's not creed.
Fine.
It's deed.
So no, I accept that from you. You're basically opening a kind of open theism.
It's not open theism. No. It's a kind of open theism. As long as you. Yeah. There are rules, that 7 rules of Noah that you have to keep, but that's basically, it's deed, not creed.
What I'm going to do to you right now is accept what you've just said, okay? If you listen to what I said, is that it can be inferred in that way. I didn't say that it is the only inference.
But it's a misconception of an understanding.
No, but that's according to your, that's, what I'm saying.
You're talking about the no hide laws.
No, but hold on.
The overall.
No, but here's what I'm trying to say, look. You would agree with me that first, I totally accept your, I'm not going to force my exegesis on you. You have your own ability and your father is a major scholar. By being Muslims. I respect that, so there's no reason to be a Jew, whatever, no problem. I'm saying that despite that being the case, the fact that there have been theological justifications using ethnicity is still current, okay? So for example, if you said to me, look, I and the majority of Muslims don't believe in terrorism. We look at the Quran and we accept that. However, there are some group of people that look at the Quran and justify terrorism from it. We have to accept that that exists so that we can deal with that. You must accept the fact that there are a lot of people in Israel who are Haredi Jews, Orthodox Jews, who use the Bible or the Hebrew Old Testament in order to make a case, for a racial case, for the superiority of the Jewish people. You might not be one of them.
What do you mean, as the state of Israel?
No. As the superiority of the Jewish people in general. The Jews and the Gentiles are separate, and that the Jewish class is higher than the Gentiles. There are some people who say that. You're not one of those. I will not force that upon you.
I say it's a misconception of understanding the language and the way it's spoken.
And I agree.
Okay. Thank brother for talking.
But let me just
we'll keep it
give me 2 minutes. Let's finish off.
Let's finish off. We condemn violence wherever it is.
Aaron, listen. What I was going to say is this. The reason why I mentioned, by the way, Urgun and the fact that they became part of the Likud party, and is because we want to show. You're talking about how much you circle backwards. We circle backwards to the inception of the state of Israel, and we realize that you have literal terrorist organizations, accepted as such, by the way, by the British, by the Americans, by the UN, by everyone, the international community, like Urgun, being absorbed into what is now the Likud party, who, of course, Netanyahu leads, or which Netanyahu leads. The point being is this: when Israel points the finger at Hamas, they have to look at their own beginning.
I always say we have to understand each other. We have to understand each other.
The fact that Hamas has no different an ideology from the Likud party. They both actually have the same ideology. The only difference is they both believe in a one-state solution. Let's be honest. Both of them believe that
I think it might work. It might work.
Listen,
together.
The difference between the two is just tactics and capabilities. That's what you need to understand. But the difference is, one is a group which is being condemned internationally, and the other one is a state which is being funded by the Americans.
Can we talk later on?
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Take care, bro.
All the best, brother.
You too. So.
Salam alaikum. Alaikum assalam.
Okay.
Peace upon you.
All right. Thank you very much, my friend.
Bye, Muhammad.
Take care, guys. Look, guys, just to end this, it's very important, as you saw there, there's not really a case anyone can make, unless they want to talk about archaeological findings. But the point of the matter is this: it is hypocrisy at the highest level. It is a double standard at the highest level when you have groups of people in the West, neoconservatives, alt-right, whatever you want to call them, who actually support the state of Israel, and they call for process of normalization with Israel. You have even Muslims voting Democrat because Joe Biden is apparently better than his alternative, but actually he's not. In fact, those Muslims who voted for him should be ashamed of themselves, knowing that he would be someone who supports this cause. I say very clearly that we should not vote for any of the political parties today. Labour, Democrats, the Muslims should withhold their vote. Because you know why? I'm not saying because voting is kufr or voting is shirk or that. We don't believe in this. But what we are saying is this: if the Labour Party in this country knows that Muslims will vote for them, they don't have to work for it. They don't even have to work for it. The Democrats are pretty confident that Muslims are going to vote for it. They don't even have to work for it. But we see the fact that the Democrats, Joe Biden is saying that had a state of Israel not been there, we would have had to invent one. This, what's his name? Starmer, yeah? I forget his first name. What's his first name?
Keir Starmer.
Keir Starmer, yeah? Yeah, this fool. He actually is a Zionist by his own confession, and he actually cancelled one of the meetings he had with Muslim organization because they're pro-Palestine. This guy is no different from what you have in the Conservative Party. Therefore, I say this clearly today. In addition to the social media policies that we have and our directives, we should condemn those parties, the Labour Party and the Democrat Party, and we should withhold our vote. We should never give them our vote because they are supporting the wrong side on the struggle. We can't be selfish enough to care about welfare benefits or JSA or whatever you guys, our community is like in this country, a welfare state, at the expense of our brothers and sisters in Palestine being bombed with the blessing of the likes of Joe Biden and Starmer. We cannot vote for these parties. We cannot, and we must make them work for it. If they want us, they have to be very clear on this issue. It's a red line for the Muslim community. The Palestine issue is a red line for the Muslim community. And I say this once and I'll say it again. We will campaign against all political parties which do not candidly condemn the Palestine issue. And we are becoming a major demography here. We'll find in the 2021 census that we're approaching the 10% mark. So you mess around with 10% of the vote, that in the current state will make or break an election, and they know it based on first past the post system. So we are actually an important player in the voting. And what we will say is we will withhold our vote, we will withhold it. If you, as a political leader, are treating the Muslim community and the Palestinian community in the way that you're doing, and we will withhold our vote and we will condemn Joe Biden and condemn all of those who campaign on his behalf from the Muslim community as well. And they should look again at the strategies in America, the da'iyahs there, because it's a wrong strategy. This idea of maslahah, you've completely warped it and destroyed it. Where is bara'? Where you don't believe inna bara' minkum mimma ta'buduna min dun Allah kafarna bikum wa bada baynana wa baynakum al-adawata wal baghdha abadan hatta tu'minu billahi wahdah. That's what Abraham said. We are disassociated with you. It's in the Quran, chapter 60, verse 7. And with what you believe in. Kafarna bikum. We disbelieve in you. وَبَدَى بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكُمُ الْعَدَاوَةَ وَالْبَغْضَاء. And between us is just enmity and hate. We say this to the Zionist state. There's nothing but enmity and hate between us. We hate you. And we love to hate you. And in fact, we, just like, you know, actually I'll say something. I read his book, Begin. Machaim Begin, or whatever his name is. It's called The Revolt. And he says in the beginning, how much he hates the Palestinians and how hate is a good thing. Well, you know what? We hate you too. And it's a mutual hate. There's reciprocity. We hate you too, to the Zionists that are bombing the children and killing them and making people suffer. And not even, by the way, they're not even offering compensation. Have you thought about that? If they think about that, they've killed so many people, 266. Of them, 30% children, 20% women, 75% women, children and civilians. You've killed hundreds of people and you don't even want to compensate them. You've destroyed buildings and you don't even want to rejuvenate them. You don't want to rebuild their infrastructure. That shows that you are targeting them all along. What do I do? What do I assume of a people who know if you press a button, 75% civilians will die, including 30 children? Would you press that button? If, wallahi, think about that question for a second. Those Israeli mujrims, criminals, armies, when they were pressing the button to detonate and kill the children, imagine knowing that when I press this button, I have a 30% chance of killing a child. Cowards. And they do it knowing that. And in fact, they've killed 2,000 such children in the last 10 years. You know you're going to kill children. It's not fighting. That's not fighting. You're punishing a militant group with killing children. Because you know why? And this show, I don't care what anyone says. They think because these are Palestinian children, they are as good as cockroaches. They are as good as animals. Wallahi, I don't even believe that. Wallahi, I believe if they saw a dog being killed, they'd feel more sorry for that dog than they feel sorry for the children of Palestine. If they saw a cat being killed, they would feel sorry for that cat being killed, and they would not feel sorry. They would feel happy and joy as they parade and enjoy seeing the children. And we're not going to forget it just because there's a ceasefire. What do you mean ceasefire? You've killed 266 people. We're going to continue shouting at the top of our lungs. And we are going to continue putting pressure on you. We are a lot of people here. With 50 million Muslims in Europe, who do you think you are? Wallahi, who do you think you are? Don't ever think that we're going to remain quiet. We're too big a number. Pew says we're going to be 1 of every 3 people in 50 years. You can't get rid of us. There's no genocide that can deal with us. No nuclear weapon can get rid of us. We're in every city in the world. And not only are we in every city in the world, now in the age of technology and the internet and social media, we are going to be influencing every city in the world. And we are going to be dealing with the oppression that you want to exact upon us. Because I tell you one thing, wallahi, and let everybody hear this. They tell us, the Muslim leaders, so-called Muslim influentials, the scholars, the clerics, they say, look, you need to find out why there's a radicalization problem. Why there are people blowing themselves up, why there is 7/7, why there is 9/11, why there is the Manchester bombing, why? Osama bin Laden, when he wrote his fatwa, in I don't know, the early 2000s, the first thing he used as ammunition for his jurisprudential position was the Israel-Palestine conflict. The first thing he used, he mentioned it in 2 fatwas he wrote. Go and see the fatwas. He used the Israel-Palestine conflict. And he said the fact that America is supporting Israel means that they are complicit in their crimes and they are killing our civilians, and therefore we should go and kill their civilians. That's the argument. Do you want to know what the Al-Qaeda argument is? It's that. That is the argument. They're killing our civilians, therefore let's kill theirs. Tell me the difference between that argument and the Lukin argument. Tell me the material difference between that argument and the ISIS or the Israeli argument. Israel is saying they're throwing rockets at us, they're detonating bombs, therefore we need to bomb their most densely populated areas. We need to kill their civilians, collateral damage. That's what they're trying to do as well. So Osama bin Laden uses this as ammunition. And when you have weak words, fumbling, pathetic, weak words from world leaders like Joe Biden saying that Israel has the right to defend itself. You are putting your own populations at danger, you foolish people, by saying that. Some fool now, some Muslim hyper-zealous fool will take your words and then contradistinct it, juxtapose it, contrast it, change it, analyze it in corroboration with, they will compare it with the words of Joe Biden. And what that narrative does, that political narrative, it gives complete currency to the terroristic position, the radical Muslim position. Then don't come to us and say, why are you not de-radicalizing these people? We're trying to de-radicalize them and tell them, actually, we don't believe in killing women and children in any circumstance. Because the Prophet said this, and the Prophet said that, and the Quran says this, and the Quran says that. But when emotions get into the picture, our argument, which is a rational and textual and jurisprudential argument, will not be as strong as the emotional argument of the terrorists. And you're making their argument stronger by siding with Israel. So don't be shocked to find some dumb guy, some monstrous Muslim blows himself up in the next couple of weeks. I'm not going to be shocked. If I see that, I'm going to expect it. I'm not going on trains. You're putting your own populations in danger. You're putting us in danger by not taking a firm stance. Because they say, okay, if we're going to trade on civilians, we're going to kill your civilians as well. It's an alliance, they say. The leaders of this country and the leaders of the West have a duty to their own populations. And to us, to make their position clear. Don't have double standards when it comes to terrorism. Do not. Because that will make the world a more dangerous place. And we're looking for world peace. We're looking for a situation where we've got nuclear weapons, 7 billion people. We can't handle this stuff anymore. So this is what I say.
So many good things.
Okay. And therefore I conclude. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My voice is almost gone, bro. Wow, I've shouted too much today.
Do you want to speak with confidence like these amazing personalities? Every single one of these amazing speakers have taken the same program with Brother Muhamed Arshad.
Muhamed Arshad has helped develop all of us.
It's extremely beneficial to do this course.
Definitely recommend this course.
Expect to become a better communicator and understanding the underpinnings of effective communication.
Go to dawahconfidence.com now to access the free life-changing training now.